I stared at the wedding invitations spread across my dining table, then picked up the last one. My name stood beside Olivia's in elegant gold letters. 2 years had passed, but I could still remember every detail. I need to find myself. Please don't look for me. That was all her message said. No explanation. No goodbye. No promise to return. Just those 7 words that destroyed everything I had spent 5 years building. My phone rang. Answer me, Ethan. Daniel said the moment I picked up. Have you eaten today? I'm fine. You always say that. I mean it. No, you don't. I leaned against the kitchen counter and closed my eyes. She'll call. I whispered. Daniel let out a tired sigh. Ethan, listen to yourself. She loves me. If she loved you, she wouldn't disappear 3 weeks before your wedding. You don't know that. I know enough. You've never liked her. I tried because you loved her. His voice softened. I'm your brother. Watching you do this to yourself hurts. I'm not giving up. Ethan, she said she needed to find herself. And where exactly did she go? I don't know. Did she tell you? No. Did she answer your calls? No. Your texts? I stayed quiet. Daniel sighed again. She chose to leave. I don't believe that. What else am I supposed to believe? I looked at the untouched wedding suit hanging beside the door. Maybe something happened. For 2 years. I don't know. You've already sold your car. I had to. You emptied your savings. The wedding deposits weren't refundable. You borrowed money. I'll pay it back. You lost the apartment. I know. You lost almost everything. His words hurt because they were true. I'm still standing. Barely. Silence filled the call. Finally, Daniel spoke again. I'm coming over. You don't have to. I wasn't asking. He hung up. An hour later, he stood inside my tiny rented apartment, holding 2 bags of groceries. You live like this now? It's temporary. He looked around. 1 couch, 1 table, 1 chair. No pictures. No decorations. Nothing that looked like home. You threw everything away. I packed it. Where? In storage. You even packed your own life. I couldn't look at it anymore. Daniel placed the groceries on the counter. I met Henry today. My old boss. He asked about you. What did you tell him? The truth. I frowned. You didn't have to. He wants you back. I laughed without humor. I haven't touched a blueprint in months. He doesn't care. I failed every deadline. You disappeared after Olivia left. I wasn't thinking straight. He knows. I embarrassed him. Daniel shook his head. He said, tell Ethan the door is still open. I looked away. I don't deserve that. Maybe not. But you deserve another chance. I only wanted 1 chance. With Olivia? Yes. Daniel rubbed his forehead. I don't know how to help you anymore. Before I could answer, someone knocked. Daniel opened the door. A woman stood there holding a paper bag. She looked nervous. Lily. Daniel sounded surprised. She gave him a small smile. Hi. I walked into the hallway. Lily. Her eyes met mine. I hope I'm not interrupting. No. She held up the bag. I made too much soup. Daniel raised 1 eyebrow. You walked across town because you made too much soup? She blushed. Maybe. I almost smiled for the first time in weeks. Come in. She stepped inside carefully. I know this feels awkward. It does. I'm sorry. You didn't do anything. I was Olivia's best friend. I know. I didn't know she was leaving. I believe you. She looked relieved. I've been worried about you. I'm okay. Daniel coughed loudly. Lily looked at him. I can see he's not. I sighed. You both planned this? Daniel raised his hands. I swear I didn't. Lily handed me the bag. You should eat while it's warm. You didn't have to do this. I wanted to. Why? She hesitated. Because someone should. Daniel quietly picked up his keys. I just remembered I have somewhere to be. I frowned. You liar. I'll call tomorrow. He slipped outside before I could stop him. The apartment suddenly felt strangely quiet. Lily looked at the floor. I can leave if you want. You walked all this way. I don't mind. I'd feel guilty. She laughed softly. Then let me stay for 10 minutes. I nodded. Deal. She poured soup into a bowl while I watched. You really haven't been eating? I forget. That's not healthy. I know. She pushed the bowl toward me. Start now. I took 1 spoonful. It tastes good. I'm glad. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then she quietly asked, do you still think she'll come back? I stared into the bowl before answering. Every morning, I tell myself today will be the day. And every night, my hope gets a little smaller. Lily reached across the table and gently squeezed my hand. I'm sorry, Ethan. I looked at our joined hands, surprised that such a small gesture could calm the storm inside me. Thank you, I said. You don't have to thank me. I do, she smiled, then stood. I should go before you think I'm trying to replace anyone. I wouldn't think that. I'm glad. She picked up her empty container and walked to the door. Ethan, yes. If you ever need someone to talk to, call me. I will. She left, and the apartment became quiet again. The next morning, I called Henry. Ethan, he answered. It's about time. I heard you still have an opening. I have one with your name on it. You trust me after everything. I trust the man who worked beside me for 7 years, not the man who spent a few months lost. I don't know if I'm ready. You'll never feel ready. I laughed softly. You always say that. Because it's always true. I accepted his offer that afternoon. The first weeks were hard, but work gave my mind somewhere else to live. Henry challenged me, encouraged me, and refused to let me hide behind excuses. Months passed. Daniel stopped checking whether I had eaten because he could see I finally was. Lily visited often. Sometimes she brought dinner, sometimes coffee, sometimes nothing except honest conversation. She never asked me to forget Olivia. She simply reminded me that I still existed. Slowly, I laughed again. Slowly, I slept through the night. Slowly, the future stopped looking empty. 2 years passed before I realized an entire week had gone by without thinking about the wedding that never happened. That Saturday morning, I was organizing old project files when my doorbell rang. I've got it, I called, expecting Daniel. I opened the door. My breath caught. Olivia stood there. Her hair was shorter. Her smile looked uncertain. A baby girl rested against her shoulder, sleeping peacefully. Ethan, she whispered. Every memory crashed into me at once. I couldn't move. I know this is a surprise. Silence filled the doorway. She shifted the baby gently. Can I come in? I stepped aside without speaking. She entered slowly and looked around. You've done well. I remained quiet. She sat on the couch and kissed the baby's forehead. Her name is Ava. I stared at the child. She's beautiful. Thank you. Another long silence settled between us. Finally, Olivia looked at me. I made terrible mistakes. I said nothing. I thought I knew what I wanted. Still nothing. The man I chose promised me everything. My hands tightened. He left when I told him I was pregnant. She wiped away a tear. I had nowhere else to go. I kept staring, and she took a deep breath. I came home because I finally understood something. I waited. You were always the man who truly loved me. My heart pounded. She smiled as though nothing important had happened. We can still get married, Ethan. I couldn't even blink. You'll be an amazing father to Ava. She reached toward me. I know you'll forgive me. I looked at her hand, then into her hopeful eyes. Every painful memory returned. Every broken promise echoed. Every lonely night stood between us. Yet I still said nothing. Olivia mistook my silence for hesitation. I knew you'd understand, she said. You always understood me. She smiled through her tears, already acting as if my answer belonged to her. I even brought the old engagement ring, she whispered, opening her purse. We can start over. The tiny box rested in her palm. I stared at it, unable to breathe. Behind me, soft footsteps came from upstairs. A floorboard creaked. Olivia turned toward the sound, confused. Her hopeful smile slowly faded as someone began walking down the stairs. My pulse thundered inside my ears, but I still could not force a single word from my mouth. Toward us both. The footsteps behind me grew louder. Olivia turned toward the staircase. Is someone here? She asked. I finally found my voice. Yes. Who? Before I answered, the crying started. A baby's cry. Then another. Olivia frowned. There are babies? I nodded once. She looked confused. I don't understand. Neither did I, 2 years earlier. Back then, I believed my life had ended the day she walked away. I had no idea it was quietly beginning again. The first person who refused to give up on me was Lily. She never arrived with big speeches. She never told me to forget Olivia. She simply knocked on my door with food, coffee, or a reason to leave my apartment. One evening, she handed me a cup of coffee. You look exhausted. I couldn't sleep. Again, I kept thinking. She smiled gently. Thinking has never helped anyone at 2 in the morning. It helps me remember. Maybe that's the problem. I looked at her. You always know what to say. No, you do. I just say what I wish someone had told me. Those words stayed with me. Weeks became months. Sometimes we talked for 5 minutes. Sometimes for 5 hours. One rainy night, she called. Are you busy? Not really. I'm outside. You are. Don't laugh. I opened the door. She stood there holding an umbrella and a pizza box. I burned dinner. So you bought another one? I bought enough for both of us. I laughed. You planned this. Maybe. We ate on the floor because I still hadn't bought proper furniture. She looked around. This place finally feels lived in. I unpacked a few boxes. I'm proud of you. For opening cardboard. For moving forward. I became quiet. I still miss her sometimes. I know. Does that make me weak? No. It feels like it. It makes you human. She never judged me. That mattered more than I realized. Months later, Henry called me into his office. You've changed. I hope that's good. You smile now. I didn't notice. Someone helped you. I smiled again. Maybe. Lily. I looked surprised. Was I that obvious? Henry chuckled. You stop looking at the floor whenever she visits. We're just friends. For now. I shook my head. I'm not ready. You don't have to rush. I don't want to hurt her. Then don't lie to yourself. His words follow me home. That evening, Lily and I walked through the park. She held 2 cups of hot chocolate. I guess you'd want marshmallows. You guessed right. She laughed. You become easier to read. I used to hide everything. You still try. Does it work? Not with me. I smiled. Lily, yes. Why did you keep helping me? She stopped walking. I've asked myself that. And I cared. Because I was Olivia's fiancée. She shook her head. Because you were Ethan. I couldn't answer. She looked nervous. I'm sorry. For what? I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm glad you did. She looked into my eyes. So am I. Neither of us moved. Neither of us needed to. Everything changed without either of us saying another word. From that day forward, we stopped pretending our feelings didn't exist. Nothing happened quickly. We took small steps. We shared dinners, long drives, quiet mornings, late-night phone calls. She met Daniel properly. He pulled me aside afterward. I like her. You barely know her. I know how you look at her. I don't want to compare anyone. You don't. What do you mean? You stopped trying to replace the past. I thought about that all night. He was right. Loving Lily never felt like forgetting Olivia. It felt like finally allowing myself to live again. Almost a year later, I stood outside Lily's apartment, holding a small ring box. She opened the door. You look nervous. I am. Should I be worried? Only if you plan on saying no. Her eyes widened. Ethan. I took a slow breath, looked directly at her, and knelt before speaking. Lily covered her mouth with both hands. Ethan. I opened the ring box. I don't have a perfect speech. You don't need one. I spent a long time believing my future disappeared. Her eyes filled with tears. Then you walked into my life without asking for anything. She whispered, I only wanted you to smile again. You gave me much more than that. I took a deep breath. You accepted the broken version of me. I loved every version. I don't ever want to lose you. You won't. So, I smiled. Lily Harper, will you marry me? She laughed through happy tears. Why are you asking like you already know the answer? Because I'm hoping. She nodded again and again. Yes. Really? Yes. I slipped the ring onto her finger. She pulled me into a hug. I love you, Ethan. I love you too. For the first time in years, those words felt peaceful instead of painful. Daniel nearly tackled me when I told him. I knew it. You knew everything. I definitely knew before you did. Henry smiled when he saw the ring. I was wondering how long you planned to keep that poor woman waiting. I wanted to be sure. Were you? The moment she said yes, life became wonderfully ordinary. We married quietly with only family and close friends around us. There were no giant decorations, no expensive ballroom, no impossible promises, only honesty. Lily squeezed my hand during our vows. I choose you today. I smiled. And I'll keep choosing you every day after today. She whispered, that's all I've ever wanted. A year later, she handed me a small envelope. Open it. I frowned. What is it? Just look. I unfolded the paper. Then I stared. Then I looked at her. This says. She nodded. I'm pregnant. I laughed so hard that tears filled my eyes. I can't believe it. Believe it. I wrapped my arms around her. We're going to be parents. Yes. Months later, the doctor grinned during an ultrasound. I hope you're ready. I looked at the screen. For what? 2 heartbeats. I blinked. 2. Lily laughed. Twins. I almost sat on the floor. I don't even know how to handle one. You'll learn. I guess I have to. When Emma and Noah were born, I held each of them with shaking hands. They're perfect. Lily smiled weakly from the hospital bed. They have your eyes. They have your smile. They're ours. They're everything. Those tiny babies healed wounds I once believed would never close. Every sleepless night became a gift. Every cry reminded me that my home was full of love. Now, standing in my living room, I heard those familiar cries upstairs again. Olivia looked toward the staircase. What was that? My children. Her forehead creased. You have children? Yes. She stared at me. You never told me. You never asked. The crying grew louder. A moment later, Lily appeared on the stairs carrying Emma against her shoulder. Emma rubbed her sleepy eyes. Behind Lily, Noah reached both hands toward me from the top step. I walked over and lifted him into my arms. There you are, buddy. He smiled immediately. Dada. Olivia's face lost every trace of color. She looked from Noah to Emma, then to Lily, then back to me. No. Lily stopped beside me. Everything okay? I nodded gently. It is now. Olivia pointed at Lily with a trembling hand. You. Lily answered quietly. Hello, Olivia. You. Olivia struggled to breathe. You're married? Yes, I replied calmly. Lily is my wife. Her eyes widened again. And I kissed Noah's forehead. This is Noah. Lily smiled at the little girl in Olivia's arms. And this is Emma. Olivia whispered, twins? Yes. She looked at our wedding rings. At our children. At the peaceful smiles we shared without thinking. You were supposed to wait for me. I met her eyes without anger. I waited until I finally understood my life couldn't stay frozen forever. She shook her head. You couldn't. I did. You loved me. I did. The past tense hung between us. She opened her mouth, but no words came. For the first time since walking through my door, Olivia had absolutely nothing to say. Olivia finally found her voice. This isn't real. I held Noah a little closer. It is. You married Lily? Yes. You had children? Yes. You were supposed to wait for me. I looked at her calmly. You never asked me to wait. You knew I would come back. No, Olivia. I hoped you would. She shook her head. That isn't the same. It became the same after 2 years. Lily gently carried Emma toward the nursery. I'll put her back to sleep. I nodded. Thank you. She kissed my cheek before walking upstairs. Olivia stared after her. She kissed you. She's my wife. My best friend. My wife. Her breathing became uneven. How could she do this to me? I almost laughed. You left me. I made one mistake. You disappeared. I was confused. You vanished 3 weeks before our wedding. I needed time. You took 2 years. I couldn't come back sooner. You could have called. She looked away. I didn't know what to say. You could have told the truth. I was ashamed. I stayed quiet. She stepped closer. Ethan, listen to me. I'm listening. I know I hurt you. You did. But we're meant to be together. We were. You still love me. I looked directly into her eyes. No. She flinched. You don't mean that. I do. You proposed to me. I did. You promised forever. I meant every word. Then keep your promise. You broke it first. Silence filled the room. Finally, she whispered, You're punishing me. I shook my head. No. Then why won't you forgive me? I already forgave you. She blinked. What? I forgave you a long time ago. Then why am I standing here like a stranger? Because forgiveness isn't the same as going backward. She looked completely lost. I don't understand. I know. She lowered her voice. I still love you. I sighed. I wish that sentence had arrived 2 years earlier. Tears rolled down her face. I thought you'd always be here. I came back. After building another life. She hugged Ava tightly. I had nowhere else. You had choices. No. Yes. She frowned. You don't know what happened. Tell me. She hesitated. I met Nathan. I guessed. He made promises. So did I. He said we'd travel. I offered a home. He had money. I nodded slowly. Now we're getting closer to the truth. She became defensive. It wasn't about money. What was it? He made me feel alive. And I didn't. She stayed silent. I continued. I worked overtime to pay for our wedding. I know. I missed birthdays because I wanted us to buy a house. I know. I believed sacrifice meant building a future. I know. But you thought someone else's future looked better. I didn't think it would end like this. It rarely does. She wiped her eyes again. Nathan changed. No. What? He showed you who he always was. She looked down. I loved him. You loved the life you imagined. She whispered, maybe. I sat beside Noah's playpen. I spent months blaming myself. You shouldn't have. I wondered if I worked too much. She remained quiet. I wondered if I stopped making you happy. Ethan, I wondered whether loving you wasn't enough. It wasn't your fault. I know that now. The front door opened. Daniel walked inside, carrying grocery bags. I brought. He stopped. Oh. Olivia turned. Daniel. He looked at her without smiling. So you finally came back. I came to fix things. He laughed once. Good luck. She frowned. You still hate me. I don't hate you. What then? I hate what you did to my brother. She looked at me. I never wanted to destroy him. Daniel placed the groceries on the counter. Whether you wanted to or not, you did. I nodded slowly. For a long time, I believed my life ended when you left. Olivia whispered, I'm sorry. I believe you are. Daniel folded his arms. But apologies don't erase choices. Before Olivia could answer, my phone vibrated. Sophia's name appeared on the screen. I looked at it for a moment before answering. Hello. I hope I'm not interrupting, Sophia said. You picked an interesting moment. I finally found the documents you asked me to review. Can you come over? I'll be there in 10 minutes. We'll wait. I ended the call. Olivia frowned. Why is a lawyer coming? Because I wanted answers. You don't need a lawyer. I didn't 2 years ago. Daniel leaned against the counter. But you do now. Olivia looked from him to me. You both think I'm lying? I think you're hiding parts of the story, I replied. I already told you everything. You told me Nathan abandoned you. He did. You didn't tell me why you left me. I said I was confused. Daniel shook his head. That isn't an answer. The doorbell rang. I opened the door. Sophia stepped inside, carrying a folder. Hi, Ethan. Thanks for coming. She noticed Olivia immediately. So this is the famous fiancé. Olivia crossed her arms. I was his fiancé. Sophia nodded. I know. She handed me the folder. I tracked down more information than I expected. Olivia looked nervous. What information? Sophia answered calmly. Nathan Brooks. Olivia's face tightened. I don't want to talk about him. Unfortunately, your choices are part of this conversation. I opened the folder. The first page contained copies of messages and business records. Sophia pointed to one document. Nathan never filed any marriage paperwork. Olivia looked away. I know. Sophia continued. He also told 2 business partners he didn't believe in marriage. I didn't know that. You didn't ask. Olivia's voice cracked. He said we'd figure things out. Sophia turned another page. According to the timeline, you moved into his apartment 3 days after leaving Ethan. I stared at Olivia. 3 days. She couldn't meet my eyes. You already had everything planned. It wasn't like that. Then explain it. She struggled to answer. I thought I was choosing a better future. The words settled over the room like cold rain. Daniel laughed bitterly. There it is. Olivia covered her face. I didn't mean it that way. But you said it anyway, I replied quietly. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. I believed success would make me happy, and I wasn't successful enough. No, I waited. I thought you worked too much. I work for us. I know that now. Sophia spoke again. When Nathan learned you were pregnant, he transferred his assets and disappeared for months. Olivia nodded slowly. He said the baby wasn't his. Daniel frowned. Even though he knew? Yes. Sophia closed the folder. That's when she tried contacting mutual friends. I looked at Olivia. Why didn't you call me? I was ashamed. Or afraid I'd say no. She stayed silent. That silence answered me. Another phone rang. Olivia looked at the screen and sighed. It's my mother. She answered reluctantly. Mom. Grace's voice was loud enough for all of us to hear. Are you still at Ethan's house? Yes. Good. Don't leave until he agrees. Olivia closed her eyes. Mom, he's successful now. He can raise Ava. I felt my stomach tighten. Grace continued. Remind him he loved you. Olivia whispered, please stop. Tell him one mistake shouldn't ruin your future. It wasn't one mistake. Grace ignored her. If he has any decency, he'll marry you. Olivia ended the call with shaking hands. Nobody spoke for several seconds. Finally, she whispered, I'm sorry you heard that. I nodded. So your mother knew why you came. I didn't want it to sound like that. But it does. She looked around the room. I've ruined everything. Daniel answered first. No. She looked up hopefully. You ruined it years ago. I looked at Ava sleeping peacefully against her shoulder. The little girl had done nothing wrong. She deserved better than the choices surrounding her. I met Olivia's tear-filled eyes. I don't hate you. You don't. No. Then what do you feel? I thought carefully before answering. I feel sad. She frowned. Sad. I loved you enough to build my whole future around us. Another tear rolled down her cheek. And now, I see someone who kept chasing a dream that never existed. She whispered, do you pity me? I pity the life you could have had. She looked at my wedding ring, then toward the staircase where Lily was comforting our twins. Finally, she lowered her head. For the first time, I realized every feeling of love inside me had disappeared. All that remained was sadness for the woman who had destroyed her own future with her own hands. The morning after Olivia left my house, I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong. Daniel walked into my office carrying his phone. You need to see this. I looked up. What happened? He handed me the screen. A social media post filled the display. My stomach tightened. Olivia had written, I lost the man I loved because my best friend stole him while I was trying to fix my life. Below were hundreds of comments. Some believed her. Some attacked Lily. Some called me heartless. I sighed. I should have expected this. Daniel frowned. What do you want to do? Nothing. You can't ignore it forever. I won't fight on the internet. Before he answered, Lily walked into my office carrying coffee. Morning. She noticed my expression immediately. What happened? I handed her the phone. She read the post quietly. Then she looked at me. I'm sorry. You didn't write it. I know. I don't want this hurting you. She smiled gently. We've survived worse. I took her hand. I hate that you're paying for someone else's choices. I'm standing beside my husband. She squeezed my fingers. That's exactly where I want to be. My phone rang. Sophia. I answered. Good morning. I've already seen Olivia's post. So have we. Don't respond. I wasn't planning to. Good. What are you thinking? I'm thinking facts beat stories. I smiled. They usually do. Give me a few hours. I trust you. She hung up. Daniel folded his arms. I love it when lawyers sound confident. Lily laughed softly. They usually have a reason. By afternoon, Sophia arrived carrying another thick folder. I came prepared. I stepped aside. Come in. She spread documents across the dining table. What am I looking at? Messages. She pointed at the first page. Lily never contacted you romantically until nearly a year after Olivia disappeared. Lily nodded. That's true. Sophia placed another document beside it. Phone records. Then another. Witness statements. Daniel raised an eyebrow. You collected all this already? I like evidence. I looked through the pages. So every timeline matches? Exactly. Sophia smiled. If Olivia wants this argument publicly, she's going to lose. Lily frowned. I don't want to humiliate her. You won't. Sophia tapped the folder. The truth will. Just then my phone buzzed again. An unknown number. I answered. Hello. A familiar voice replied. Ethan. I recognized it instantly. Nathan. You remember me. I remember enough. I'd like to meet. Why? I think we should talk. About what? Olivia. I almost laughed. You disappeared. I know. And now you suddenly care? It's complicated. No. It is. I don't think so. He hesitated. My company's in trouble. I stayed silent. I made mistakes. So did Olivia. I want to fix things. You should have started years ago. I need her help. That surprised me. Her help. My reputation is damaged. And if she publicly forgives me, investors might calm down. I shook my head. You don't want forgiveness. What do you mean? You want good publicity. He didn't answer. I continued. You still haven't learned anything. The call ended without another word. Daniel looked curious. What did he want? To save himself. Lily sighed. Some people only apologize when they lose something. Exactly. That evening Olivia called. I answered reluctantly. What is it? I need to explain. You already had that chance. Please. I stayed quiet. She spoke quickly. Nathan contacted me. I know. He wants us to pretend everything was a misunderstanding. And I refused. I leaned back. Why? Because I finally realized he never loved me. I closed my eyes. What changed your mind? He only talked about his business. Not about you. No. Not about Ava. No. She started crying. I wasted everything. I listened without interrupting. I thought choosing money meant choosing security. And now I understand what I threw away. I spoke carefully. You can't rebuild the past by destroying the present. She whispered, I know. After the call ended, Lily rested her head on my shoulder. Do you feel sorry for her? I looked toward the twins, sleeping peacefully through the baby monitor. Yes. Do you want her back? I smiled without hesitation. No. Are you sure? I kissed her forehead. I've never been more certain. That night, I carried Noah upstairs while Lily held Emma close against her shoulder. Noah yawned and wrapped his tiny fingers around mine. Lily smiled. They're getting heavier. So are my arms. She laughed quietly. You never complain? I waited too long to become a dad. You make up for lost time. I kissed Noah's forehead before laying him gently in his crib. Emma reached toward me. My turn. Lily grinned. She already knows she'll win. I never stood a chance. I rocked Emma slowly until her eyes closed. The nursery became peaceful. For a few minutes, neither Lily nor I spoke. We simply watched our children sleep. Finally, she whispered, What are you thinking? I almost lost all of this before it even existed. She slipped her hand into mine. But you didn't. No. You kept walking. You almost gav it upe. I know. If you hadn't knocked on my apartment door that day. She squeezed my hand. I almost turned around before knocking. I looked at her. Really? I thought you'd hate seeing me. I never could. You looked so broken. I was. And I promised myself I'd never let you feel alone again. I smiled. You kept that promise. She rested her head against my shoulder. Now make me one. What kind? Stop carrying Olivia's mistakes inside your heart. I took a slow breath. I don't know if I'm completely there yet. You don't have to forget. I won't. But you can stop letting the past rent space in your mind. I laughed softly. That sounds like Henry. I've been listening to him. The next afternoon, Daniel called. You busy? Not really. I just heard Grace threw Olivia out. I frowned. What happened? They argued. About what? Grace blamed Olivia for losing you. I closed my eyes. That's cruel. It got worse. What do you mean? Olivia blamed Grace for pushing her toward Nathan. I sighed. They both share responsibility. They finally admitted it. Later that evening, Olivia sent me one message. Mom says everything is my fault. I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then I replied, Your future starts when you stop blaming everyone else. She answered almost immediately. I'm trying. I put my phone away. I had nothing else to add. 2 days later, Sophia visited again. I have good news. What happened? Every false claim has been removed. Already. She smiled. The messages, timelines, and witness statements ended the argument. Lily looked relieved. So it's over? Sophia nodded. Nobody can honestly say you stole Ethan. I smiled. Thank you. You don't owe me thanks. I do. You deserve the truth. After she left, Daniel laughed. Your lawyer scares me. Mine too. The following week, another headline appeared online. Nathan's company had officially entered bankruptcy proceedings. I stared at the article without feeling satisfaction. Lily noticed. How do you feel? I expected revenge to feel exciting. And it doesn't. What does it feel like? Empty. She nodded. Because life handled it without you. I realized she was right. Nathan lost his money. Olivia lost the future she chased. Grace lost a relationship with her daughter. None of it happened because I planned revenge. It happened because every selfish decision eventually demanded payment. That night, I sat beside the twins once more. Noah slept with one tiny hand outside his blanket. Emma smiled in her dreams. I gently adjusted Noah's blanket. Lily stood beside me. You've been quiet. I was thinking about Olivia. I looked at my son and daughter. No. Then what? I finally understand something. She waited patiently. I spent years believing victory meant proving someone wrong. And now, I wrapped one arm around her waist. Victory is standing here. She smiled. With us. With the family that chose me every single day. She kissed my cheek. You chose us too. I looked at our sleeping twins. The house was peaceful. My heart was peaceful. For the first time, I realized I wasn't protecting myself from the past anymore. I was protecting the life I loved. That was the only victory I would ever need. The idea came from Lily. She looked up from the twins' playmat and smiled. I've been thinking. That usually means I'm about to agree to something. She laughed. Probably. I sat beside Noah. What is it? We never had the wedding we dreamed about. I looked at my wedding ring. We got married. We signed papers. You sound disappointed. I'm grateful. She reached for my hand. But I still want to stand in front of everyone and promise my life to you. I smiled. I do that every year if you asked. Careful. Why? I might remember that. Daniel walked through the front door, carrying groceries. What am I interrupting? Lily answered first. Our wedding. He blinked. You two are already married. We know. She laughed. We want the celebration we skipped. Daniel pointed at me. Say yes. I already did. No. He grinned. Say yes before she changes her mind. Lily threw a pillow at him. I heard that. He caught it easily. You were supposed to. A month later, the plans were finally finished. Nothing felt rushed. Nothing felt forced. Everything reflected the life Lily and I had built together. Henry walked into the venue during rehearsal. He looked around and smiled. This suits you. What does? Peace. I laughed. I didn't know peace had decorations. It doesn't. He placed one hand on my shoulder. It has your face. His words stayed with me. The morning of the ceremony arrived faster than I expected. Daniel adjusted his tie beside me. You look nervous. I am. You've already married her. I know. So why are your hands shaking? Because this time I understand exactly how lucky I am. He smiled. That's the right reason. Henry joined us. Ready? I think so. He looked directly at me. When I first offered your job back, I wasn't trying to save your career. What were you trying to save? You. I became quiet. You reminded me of myself after my wife died. I never knew that. I hid it well. He smiled gently. Pain teaches strange lessons. What lesson did you learn? Never close the door on tomorrow. I nodded slowly. Thank you. You already thanked me. I'm doing it again. The music began outside. Daniel straightened his jacket. Showtime. Guests filled the garden with quiet conversations and warm smiles. Friends from work waved as I walked toward the front. I noticed Sophia sitting beside Henry. She smiled. You clean up nicely. I'll pretend that's a compliment. It definitely is. The twins arrived next. Lily's cousin pushed them down the flower-lined aisle in a decorated stroller. Emma laughed at everyone. Noah clapped his tiny hands. The guests smiled instantly. Daniel leaned toward me. They've already stolen the show. I expected that. You never had a chance. The music changed. Everyone stood. I looked toward the entrance. My breath caught. Lily walked slowly beside her father. She wore a simple white dress. No expensive jewelry. No dramatic entrance. Just the woman who had quietly changed my life. She smiled at me. Everything else disappeared. When she finally reached me, she whispered, "You're crying." I'm blaming the wind. There isn't any. Then I'm out of excuses. She laughed softly. I love you. I know. The officiant smiled. Shall we begin? We nodded together. He welcomed everyone before inviting us to share our personal vows. I took a slow breath. Lily, years ago I believed losing someone meant my story had ended. She squeezed my hands gently. Then he knocked on my door carrying soup instead of promises. The guests laughed quietly. You never asked me to become someone different. I smiled. You simply stayed. Tears filled her eyes. You gave me something I never thought I'd have again. What? Home. She wiped her tears. I'll spend the rest of my life protecting the family we built together. Before she could answer, I noticed movement near the last row of chairs. A familiar face quietly stepped into the garden. Olivia. She stood alone, keeping her distance, her eyes fixed on me without saying a single word. For a moment, I forgot where I was. Olivia stood beneath a tall maple tree at the back of the garden, holding no gift, wearing a simple blue dress, and keeping her eyes on the ceremony. Daniel followed my gaze. He leaned closer and whispered, "Do you want me to ask her to leave?" I looked at Lily. She waited quietly, trusting me. I shook my head. "No. Are you sure?" "Yes." The officiant smiled politely. "Would you like to continue?" I nodded. "Yes." I looked back at Lily. "I'm sorry." She smiled softly. "You don't have to apologize." I took another breath. "You found me when I had nothing left except regret." She squeezed my hands. "I never saw a broken man." "What did you see?" "I saw someone worth staying for." My throat tightened. "You stayed long enough for me to believe that too." The guests applauded gently. The officiant turned toward Lily. "Your turn." She smiled through tears. "Ethan, I never planned to fall in love with you." I laughed quietly. "I know. I only wanted to make sure you ate dinner." The guests laughed. Then I realized I looked forward to every conversation. She looked in my eyes. "You never asked me to heal you." "I couldn't. You healed yourself." She touched my wedding ring. "I was only lucky enough to walk beside you." I smiled. "You gave me courage. You already had it." She continued. "I promise to keep choosing you on easy days and difficult ones." "I'll do the same." The officiant nodded. "Do you, Ethan, continue choosing Lily as your wife, partner, and best friend?" "I do." "And do you, Lily, continue choosing Ethan as your husband, partner, and best friend?" "I do." "You may kiss." I stepped closer and kissed her. The applause became louder. Emma clapped happily inside her stroller. Noah laughed so loudly that everyone laughed with him. Daniel wiped his eyes. I blamed the pollen. Henry chuckled. "You're a terrible liar." The ceremony ended with smiles, hugs, and photographs. While guests gathered for dinner, I noticed Olivia quietly walking toward the garden gate. Something inside me told me not to let her leave without one final conversation. I caught up with her before she reached the parking area. "Olivia." She stopped. "I didn't think you'd follow me. I wanted to say goodbye properly." She nodded without turning around. "I shouldn't have come." "Why did you?" "My mother found the invitation." I frowned. "You weren't invited?" She shook her head. "She told me I still had a chance." I sighed. "I'm sorry." "So am I." She finally faced me. "I watched your vows." "I know. You looked happy." "I am." She smiled sadly. "I kept imagining that should have been us." I answered honestly. "Years ago, maybe." She lowered her eyes. I threw that future away. Neither of us spoke for several seconds. Then she asked quietly, "Can you ever love me again?" I answered without hesitation. "No." She closed her eyes. "I expected that." "I don't hate you." "I know. I truly hope your life becomes better." She looked surprised. "You mean that?" "Yes." She wiped away another tear. "I don't deserve your kindness." "This isn't kindness." "What is it?" "Peace." She looked back toward the reception where laughter filled the evening air. "I can hear your family. They're waiting for me." She smiled faintly. "They should." I nodded. "Then my home." She held Ava a little closer. "I wish I had understood that before." "I wish you had too." She looked at me one last time. "Thank you for loving me when I didn't know how to love you back." I smiled sadly. "I hope one day you forgive yourself." She nodded slowly. "I'll try." She turned and walked toward her car without looking back. I stood there until the sound of the engine disappeared. When I returned to the reception, Emma reached toward me with both arms. I picked her up immediately. Noah laughed from Daniel's shoulders. Lily smiled the moment she saw me. "Everything okay?" I kissed her forehead. "Everything is exactly where it belongs." She slipped her hand into mine. "Come dance with me." "I'd love to." As we walked toward our family, I never looked behind me again. 5 years passed faster than I ever imagined. One Saturday morning, I stood in the kitchen making pancakes while Noah tried to steal strawberries from the counter. "Dad, I wasn't taking them." I laughed. "Your hand says otherwise." He grinned. "It slipped." Emma pointed at him. "He's lying." "I am not." You are. Lily walked into the kitchen, carrying coffee. Should I be the judge? Noah looked hopeful. Yes. She smiled. My decision is simple. We waited. Both of you helped set the table. Emma laughed. That's not fair. It is if you want breakfast. The twins rushed toward the dining room. I watched them go. Lily slipped her hand into mine. You look happy. I am. You were smiling before they even woke up. I still can't believe this is my life. She kissed my cheek. You earned it. Almost walked away from everything. But you didn't. Because you refused to let me. She rested her head against my shoulder. We saved each other. After breakfast, Daniel arrived, carrying a soccer ball. Who's ready? The twins shouted together. We are. He laughed. I knew that answer. Noah grabbed my hand. Dad, you're playing too. I don't think I have a choice. You don't. We spent the morning in the park laughing more than keeping score. Henry sat on a nearby bench watching us. When the game ended, I walked over. You didn't join. My knees voted against it. I laughed. They're getting wiser. He smiled. So are you. I sat beside him. I've been thinking about something. What? If Olivia hadn't left, you wouldn't be here. I know. Does that thought still hurt? I looked toward Lily helping Emma tie her shoe. No. What does it feel like? Gratitude. Henry nodded slowly. That's a difficult lesson. I never expected betrayal to become a blessing. Life enjoys strange endings. Before I answered, Noah ran over. Grandpa Henry. Henry smiled. I'm not your grandpa. You act like one. Henry laughed, so hard he nearly dropped his hat. I'll accept that. Later that afternoon, we stopped for ice cream. Emma pointed across the street. Dad, yes. That lady keeps looking at us. I turned carefully. Olivia stood outside a bookstore holding Ava's hand. For a brief moment, our eyes met. She looked different. Not older. Quieter. She gave me a small nod. I nodded back. Emma tugged my sleeve. Do you know her? I used to. Friend. I thought carefully. Someone from a long time ago. Emma accepted the answer without another question. Olivia gently took Ava's hand and walked away. Lily looked at me. Are you okay? I am. You look surprised. I wasn't expecting to see her. Do you want to talk? I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. That evening, after the twins fell asleep, Lily and I sat on the porch. She handed me a cup of tea. You've been quiet. I saw someone who reminded me how much life can change. Olivia? I nodded. She looked peaceful. I'm glad. So am I. Lily studied my face. No sadness. Only hope. For what? That she finally forgives herself. Lily smiled gently. That's a beautiful wish. I spent too many years carrying anger. And now, I don't have room for it anymore. She reached across the table. What fills that space instead? I looked through the window at our sleeping children. Our family. She squeezed my hand. I like that answer. Just then my phone buzzed. A message appeared from an unfamiliar number. I opened it. Asterisk, this is Ava. Mom said I should thank you for wishing us well years ago. She talks about your kindness more than your heartbreak. I wanted you to know she's doing better. Asterisk. I stared at the screen for several seconds before quietly showing Lily the message. Lily read the message twice before handing my phone back. That's unexpected. It is. What will you do? I thought for a moment. I'll answer. She smiled. I figured you would. I typed slowly. Asterisk, I'm glad your mom is doing better. Take good care of each other. I wish you both a happy future. Asterisk. I pressed send. Lily rested her hand over mine. That felt like the last page. I think it was. The next morning, Noah burst into our bedroom before sunrise. Dad! I opened one eye. What happened? We're going camping today. I laughed. We leave after breakfast. I know. So why are you awake already? I was too excited. Emma appeared behind him. He woke me up. I'm sorry. She folded her arms. No, you're not. No. Lily laughed from beside me. I guess nobody's sleeping anymore. We packed the car together. Henry met us at the campsite with fishing poles. Daniel arrived a few minutes later, carrying enough food for twice as many people. I looked at him. You know, we're only staying one night. I plan ahead. You always overpack. I call it preparation. The twins raced toward the lake. Slow down, I called. We will, they shouted together. Neither of them slowed down. Henry smiled. They remind me of you. I wasn't that energetic. You absolutely were. Daniel nodded. You climbed every tree you saw. I only fell out of a few. A few. We all laughed. That evening we gathered around the campfire. Emma leaned against my shoulder. Dad, yes. Were you always happy? I looked into the fire. No. Why not? I made some painful mistakes. She frowned. But you're nice. Nice people still make mistakes. Did someone hurt you? I glanced at Lily. She gave me a gentle nod. Yes. Emma reached for my hand. Did it stop hurting? It did. Ow! I smiled. Because I stopped looking at what I lost and started protecting what I found. Noah looked confused. What did you find? I wrapped one arm around both children. You. They smiled proudly. And Mom. Especially Mom. Lily laughed. I appreciate that answer. Later, after the twins fell asleep inside the tent, Lily and I sat beneath a sky full of stars. She leaned against me. If you could speak to the man you were years ago, what would you tell him? I answered without hesitation. I'd tell him not to beg someone to stay. What else? I'd tell him that the worst day of his life would lead him to the best years of it. She kissed my cheek. I think he'd have trouble believing you. I know, but he'd eventually understand. She intertwined her fingers with mine. I never thanked you. For what? For trusting me. I smiled. You earn my trust every single day. I still plan to. I know. We sat in comfortable silence until the fire became glowing embers. The following morning, we hiked along a quiet trail. Emma and Noah ran several steps ahead, laughing about who could find the most colorful leaves. I watched them with a full heart. Lily slipped her hand into mine. What are you thinking now? I smiled as the children pointed excitedly toward another winding path. I'm thinking life gave me everything I needed, but only after it took away everything I thought I wanted. She squeezed my hand. And was it worth the wait? I looked at my wife. Then I looked at my children running ahead beneath the morning sun. Yes. I held Lily's hand a little tighter and followed our twins down the trail. For years I believed betrayal had ended my story. Now I finally understood the truth. My greatest heartbreak had quietly guided me toward the greatest gift life would ever give me. Some doors never open again. The right ones never need to.